All right, so today we are checking out the brand new Sony 24-70 f2.8, that mid-range G Master. This is the second version, so compared to the previous one, it is smaller, it is lighter. So I've actually been using this lens for over a month now, and I shot a couple of my last previous videos with it, so we'll talk about my experiences with it and all that stuff. But first, let's go ahead and just get some shots with the lens on the a7 IV of beautiful Dylan over there.
Hi, beautiful Dylan here. I just want to say thank you to Dropbox for sponsoring this portion of this video. Now, have you ever had a situation where you're trying to upload massive 8K RAW files and then you come back 5 hours later to realize that it stalled because your internet had a 2-second blip? Congratulations, now you gotta start all over. Meanwhile, you missed your deadline and your client thinks you're a loser, and so does your girlfriend, and actually your client stole your girlfriend and all you can do is watch. Great job, man. The beauty of Dropbox is that you can just dump all your files into a sync folder on your hard drive. Dropbox automatically syncs it all up to the cloud, and with Dropbox backup, your files are safe from accidents happening just like this. Oh, I thought it'd be harder. Always get warranty, kids. Good thing Dropbox works on multiple devices. That way I can still access my files right on my phone. You need to share your work of that thing that you really cared about but no one said really mattered, but you really want to show them anyway. This is what you do. You go to Dropbox, and with just a few clicks, you can generate a link to any file or folder you want, and everyone will have to see what you made. Dropbox simplifies your workflow, making it easier than ever to get from point A to B. Unlike me, I'm in this kind of weird, dark, in-between area. I really don't even know where I am or where Gene went. But you know what you would know is where your files are if you use Dropbox. Visit Dropbox.com and start a free trial of Dropbox Professional. Thanks, Dropbox, for sponsoring this part of the video. Now back to the regular content.
All right, so far so good. I mean, the bar is set really high because it is the 24-70 f2.8 G Master. Check out this minimum focus distance here. Like, check that out. Have you been cleaning your ear, Dylan? Actually, yeah, your Q-tip skills are on point.
Oh yeah.
And then we zoom in all the way to a 70, and now it is 0.3 meters. Pretty damn good. Fingernails are in good shape too, man.
Thank you, Mr. Calling, as a hand model.
I know, right? Instead, I got on the YouTube channel.
Here's the original 24-70 f2.8, which came out in 2016. So a lot of technological improvements since then. So minimum focus distance on the wide end on the original. Yeah, see, I have to get his whole hand in frame. Oh my God, look at all these one wheels.
Oh, wow.
Literally out of nowhere, like just 100 of these come out. Anyways, we gotta go back and pack because we're doing a little road trip, and I haven't even started packing, and I always forget stuff, so let's go.
Yeah, you do stink.
Yeah?
But I still love you.
I forget one thing, and Carrie's just like, you stink. Here's what we're looking for here. Which one should I get? I always go for Old Spice because their commercials are so good, and ever since then, like, I've always bought it. Which one do you think we should get?
I don't know, but that guy smells pretty good. Ask him.
Sir, what would you suggest?
Well, you know what I'm gonna suggest.
Who was that?
Look down, back up. Where are you? You're on a boat with the man your man could smell it.
Your host, Isaiah Mustafa.
Hello, Kevin. I hope you like water, because we're neck deep in the sweet waters.
Hey, this is my commercial!
The traffic cam caught this car fleeing from the scene of a crime tonight.
Would you do me a favor? Those pants are nice.
While I sat there looking out over the valley, I saw it arrive.
Not quite the same footwork.
Give me some. You gotta give me some quick. I'm in a tie dad. Nice pants. Get off my horse.
This is the man cave?
My dream is bookcase that kind of goes Batman style. The device ready to take you there.
Oh, what? Oh my gosh. Does this do anything right now?
Turns the light on. Everything's pretty much self-tape in Hollywood. I'm a Sony guy for the most part, so I got a A7S III here. This is where, you know, auditions are filmed.
When you're working on a set, is crew ever surprised?
But I know some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you're the actor.
I gotta thank you because I watched your channel, and that's how I learned a bunch of stuff. A lot of extra time on set when I was on this show in Toronto, Shadowhunters. My character was like, you know, the old man on the show, so I just had a lot of downtime. So I got this Nikon, and I was into it. I was like excited about it. And then one day, my buddy Harry Shum Jr. showed me his A7R, and I flipped out, and I was like, oh, like, what is this? And he's like, that's mirrorless. And I was like, what does that mean? Here's my setup of lenses, 12 to 24 millimeter, 2.8. This is your standard, you know, 24-70. It took me forever to get this lens. I like primes, and my wife, she doesn't like the fact that she has to get closer to people if she wants to like zoom in on them. So
yeah.
She's like, you need a zoom lens. So that's when I got this one.
Here's a new one right here.
Oh, get out.
Yeah, so Mark II. The main thing is that it's smaller and lighter, and the image quality is supposed
it's
to
so
be
light.
better. So this one would be yours.
This is like heavier than the whole setup.
Do you ever program in any of these buttons?
No, I never have because I'm impatient. It would take me to like sit down and actually like go, what am I gonna do with it? That doesn't happen with me. What it normally happens is I need to do this right now, so I need to shoot this right here. And if I f that up, then it's like, oh good, I learned what not to do in that situation, but I learned something. And I know somebody's out there going like, dude, just program your shit.
I get it. I'm exactly the same way. I think it's gonna be announced on the 27th. So a couple weeks from now, but then I think they're gonna ship it pretty quickly afterwards. They're starting to do this more where you have a little hole here if you have a filter. Or like a polarizer, you want to rotate it.
You take 2 months off from photography and then you come out with new shit on you all the time.
But hey, you actually have a few week head start to sell this one.
It really is so light though.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
That's fancy.
what's great about this is like Old Spice won an Emmy for The Man Your Man Can Smell Like. So that's super cool that I was able to get an Emmy, although it does not have my name on it. So because it was a team effort. It wasn't for those guys, like that wouldn't have happened.
Oh man, you even have this one, power zoom.
So I shot a short on this. This and my Sony, like during the pandemic, it was called Rosalinda. Here's the 55 millimeter Zeiss 1.8. That one's cool just for like street photography. Like if you just want to like walk down, like if you're in San Francisco or something and you just want to see some crazy shit. and you're like, you want to take pictures on the sly. It's a 28 millimeter f2 and it has an attachment, basically a fisheye converter. So then it gives you that. So that's kind of cool.
I haven't even seen this one before.
Yeah, man. Like, I have no loyalty to Sony, but let's just say that, like, I really like their products.
Yeah.
like, taking so many pictures that my wife's like, you need to get a website or something. So I have a website, but I just don't update my stuff enough.
I would think a lot of people would just go, oh, I'll just post it on my Instagram. But your Instagram following would be like, what is this?
I'm glad you brought that up because I started an Instagram, photography Instagram that's just my photography. This thing, man, this is the 200 to 600 millimeter. It's not the G Master because that one's like 10 grand, the Prime. And I would have got that, but then, I would have been filing for divorce. So I love the anamorphic format. And I don't know how to pronounce their company's name.
I think it's like Sirui, I think, but I could be wrong.
I know people love the color of Canon, but I think the color for Sony is just so dialed in. I know how to use it,
Yeah, you're comfortable with it, yeah.
Exactly.
So you're shooting pretty wide open all the time, so that's why you like the primes.
Yeah, wide open, yeah.
Swapping lenses, I feel, is hard.
My wife has it down though. We have it down. So she'll pull the 24 out. I'll take this off. I hand her that. I take mine, click. She puts that one away.
Oh,
Awesome. It's
Carrie,
awesome.
you taking notes?
She actually set it up though. She's like, you're doing this all wrong. Like, what do you, just here.
Fumbling of the lens cap and the back cap and all that stuff. Yeah. It sounds like she's the one that's a bigger fan of the zoom lens, right?
Yeah.
So imagining that the lighter weight would be useful.
Thank you for saying that because that'll be a great excuse for me to buy this. Lisa, I had to buy this lens for you because I know how much you don't like carrying that big, heavy first gen lens. You don't want to do that. You need something lighter that you can just whip around and get the shot that you need. This one's for you.
You must really love your wife.
I love my wife.
What do you think of the bacon smell?
I think it's great. I love bacon.
The smell of hickory smoked bacon, and it smells so good.
It smells great in here, actually.
It smells so good.
That's insane.
It's
like how
ridiculous.
accurate.
Yeah. Obviously, it's called Mandel.
Mandel.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Every legit man cave clearly has a chandelier.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Did you?
Mandelier. Thank you for that.
Now, if you saw my last video with Universal, I shot a majority of that video with my go-to vlog lens, which is 16-35 f4 OSS. But while I was doing the vlogging, I gave Justin this new 24-70 with the A7S III to capture the 120p. Everything was autofocus the whole time. First of all, the footage looked awesome. I remember Justin going like, what is this lens? It's magical. Of course, it's super sharp. It's the G Master, but this new fast autofocus is really being put to the test here because 120 frames per second and also fast moving small objects. Sony told me that a big part of updating this lens is to really keep up with some of the newer camera bodies that are coming out, like the A1 with the 50 megapixels and the 8K. From what I can tell, it really delivers. For example, the interviews were primarily shot on Universal, super fancy, big ass lenses, but I intercut it a lot with this lens off to the side with the A7 IV, just handheld it, just to give it more of the YouTube-y feel, and it really held its own. I mean, Sony uses a lot of these G Master optics for their cinema lenses as well. Now I need an opinion from a real lens expert because I don't actually really know that much about lenses. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, nice to see you. How you doing?
You make lenses that are kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum, which is super professional, anamorphic. So you know how sometimes we'll just like crop off the top and bottom to make it look ultra wide. That's like
a little
fake
letterbox.
yeah.
Fakeamorphic.
Yeah, exactly. Fakeamorphic.
Faux-morphic. We were fortunate enough to have these lenses used on the film Don't Look Up.
And this is actually crazy because this is a 21 millimeter, so this is a 2x anamorphic lens.
Which means that it's about twice as wide as what you might expect from a 21 millimeter lens, roughly equivalent to a 10.5 millimeter horizontal angle of view.
It's crazy. Full video on Atlas coming very soon.
Lenses are my passion. I just love all lenses, no matter what brand, what manufacturer, what type of lens. I am just a big lens nerd.
You said one of your favorite lenses is the 24-70. So, Mark II.
This is significantly smaller.
This would probably be my one and only lens if I could only carry one, which would be devastating to only have one because I need them all.
Call it the desert island lens. Yeah, I love that you have the automatic iris adjustment switch as well as manual iris. Oh yeah, and it's smooth. The iris is clickless.
Yeah, well actually, there's a switch for it though. Click
Yeah,
on
right.
and then go ahead and rotate.
Oh, click, what?
Yeah, there's also an iris lock, so if
Yep.
you want to go manual,
Lock
activate
it.
it. So now it stays in manual mode, and it
Okay.
won't pop into the A. This lock also works in the A mode, so if you don't want to accidentally bump it into manual, you switch it back over. Also, another thing that's interesting is check out this switch right here.
Smooth and tight. So it's on smooth right now.
Yeah, why don't you try turning it into tight,
Okay.
and then zoom now. Yeah.
So it just dampens it.
A lot more friction because yeah, when it's on smooth it's very loose. Now one thing I did notice is if you try to do like a crash zoom, like you go from 24-70 like really fast, you'll see it just dip out of focus.
We got to do some of those Tarantino zooms.
Yeah,
There we
yeah,
go. Okay,
exactly.
okay, I
you
see.
see it? Yeah. So not parfocal, but the autofocus on these Sony cameras are so good that if you're doing it at a decent speed, I think you're for the most part good.
It'll tend to keep focus more, so I have to be in the loose zoom to get the snap zoom that goes out of focus.
Right, yeah, because when it's tight, it's
Yeah.
definitely a pretty big difference. So you can't really snap zoom it as fast on the tight mode.
The bokeh looks incredible. It's really soft, smooth, round bokeh.
I would love if they could just like make it so that there's hard stops on the focus. So if I happen to want to rig it out. That's why you guys make your lenses specifically with that.
I think what they need to do is make a special edition called a Gene Master.
Yeah, absolutely.
That might be like the Potato Jet Signature Edition, and then you could have hard stops and
I agree.
a
yes.
focus gear.
It's
Somebody
not
call
that hard.
Sony.
Yeah, exactly.
Even their high-end cinema cameras like the Venice and Venice 2, if you take off the PL mount for cinema lenses, there's an E mount hiding inside the camera. Maybe we're doing something that's using anamorphic lenses for most of the movie, but we have to get an insert shot with the Venice Rialto head that separates from the camera body, and we have to make it micro small, and it has to be inside of a space capsule or something. This would be great to use with that. So I think that there's a lot of versatility that comes with this, and then the number of features that you get on this are incredible. I feel like it has image stabilization in the lens as well as in the camera body. Am I right about that?
No, it's on active image stabilization, so it has IBIS as well as a little touch of digital, which uses the gyro data. But they did say that somehow they were able to get the IBIS to work better with this lens than the original.
Probably has to do with the data encoders. Like there's so much encoded data that's going between the camera body and the lens, and they're talking to each other. Most of them know these days what zoom length you're at and what your focal distance is. But if you are able to manage that data even faster and better, the camera can process things that help it optimize the image quality and, you know, get the best image stabilization possible. And if you're like a single camera operator and or like doing vlogging, for instance, having something that has this much autofocus capability means that you have more brain power available to focus on your composition or story-wise or, you know, explaining things.
When are we gonna see some autofocus in Atlas lenses?
No promises, but maybe I can talk to the Sony people and learn a few things about autofocus.
Your ACs are your autofocus, huh?
Yeah. The only thing I'm noticing right off the bat here that I don't love is that it extends when you zoom. You know, some zooms have internal zoom so that the body doesn't extend, and so like if you're on a gimbal or something, you might need to rebalance your gimbal. But I guess if you balance it here and then you have it here, it probably maintains enough of a center.
Right,
So
yeah.
I think there's a good compromise there. Like we always say, all lens design is compromise. There's no such thing as the perfect lens. There's just different levels of imperfection that make great and okay lenses, and I'd say so far this seems like a pretty great lens. That's my only critique.
Because they have a 16 to 35 that's new, that's an f4, and yeah, it stays consistent. And it's awesome for gimbals. I feel like now with gimbals getting pretty powerful and this whole setup just being so light, I feel like there's usually enough power in the motor.
Gimbals are getting so strong, you could arm wrestle with one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also if you guys have any questions about anamorphic lenses, some like 21.
The widest production anamorphic lens in the world, 124 degree angle of view.
And you still managed to hit a T2? If you were to buy a lens between, let's say, the G Master, that's, you know, a little over 2,000, or like the Tamron, 28 to 75, which one would you kind of lean towards?
If you are really into the Sony system, it makes sense to get a house brand.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a certain level of legitimacy when it's like, oh, Sony camera, Sony lens. There's nothing lost in translation there at all.
There's probably not going to be any weird third-party software bugs.
I will say the Tamron 28 to 75 is pretty solid. I've had a decent amount of time with it. But for me, what I think I like about this is the range of 24 to 70 versus the 28 to 75, which, you know, I guess in a way it's like 4 in the wide end seems to be more significant to me than the 5 in the tight end.
I would agree. It's always easier to take a step forward to get a slightly tighter shot most of the time, and it's harder oftentimes to take a step back if you're in a small space to get that wider shot.
And each millimeter is more significant on the wide end too, right? The 16 to 20, you definitely notice that. 4 millimeters between 200 and 204. You're probably not even gonna see.
Yeah, it's definitely an exponential curve, so the wider you get, the more significant the change in your angle of view will be.
Now for filters, we have 82 mil threads up front, which is great. It's very common for high-end mirrorless lenses, so I already have a big collection. Shout out to Freewell filters, by the way. They magnetically attach. The downside is that they're not variable, so you do have to carry different densities, but you get to use it with the lens hood, which is nice. And this slot right here is designed to rotate the polarizer, but actually when it's magnetic, you kind of have to go in there fishing. It's kind of tight in there to get it off. But with this slot right here, I've been able to just pry it off, so that's nice. So you might have noticed that there's this red ring in front of my lenses. These are the adapter, so I can magnetically attach. I would always make sure that it is fully seated on there. If it's slightly off, then it can fall off and break on you. Somehow I haven't broken one yet, which is impressive. I break everything.
The 82.
Moment.
I like this one because it just gives that kind of like creamy, kind of like glowy feeling.
Which one's that? Cinebloom. Okay, so it's like a pomist kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Yeah. This is my variable.
I have a couple of these, and they're actually not awful.
Yeah,
for
they're just
the
chill.
price
Like,
now,
yeah, the price is right. If I take it, I'm not worried about breaking it, losing it, whatever.
Right.
I know.
What is that?
That's me in 2011. They made a bust of me, and I saw it, and I was like, "Can I have that?" For a long time, it had Darth Vader's helmet on it. That was like, you know, me 10 years ago. So the abs were way easier developed than they are now.
This morning, you did a whole workout before we rolled out of bed.
To maintain it is not easy. Like, it used to be easy when I was younger, but now that I'm getting older, you have to go like, all right, so when's the job? Okay, so I'm gonna have to start dieting like yesterday.
Focus should be pretty good too. It should be a little bit faster.
Yeah, it's no joke.
A linear zoom something. I should know this. It's faster, more accurate. You know, all kinds of Easter eggs in here.
Yeah, I am the geekiest geek you have ever met. Well, I grew up on comic books, so Adam Hughes is like one of my favorites. He sent me this. I bought a couple posters and he sent this. He's like, Isaiah, man, I get more mileage out of the Old Spice guy likes my art than you'll ever know. That's like the greatest compliment ever. You know what I mean? Like, I want to just give a word of warning to any creator out there who's thinking about getting a one wheel. The one wheels are nice, they're fun, but man, are they dangerous. Thank God for the camera bag, because flew off it, landed on the camera bag and slid, and that's the only reason I didn't break something. The only thing I did break was the lens ring. I almost cried when it happened too. 1.8 G Master 135. I don't advise doing this to anybody, but Gorilla Glue will fix just about anything. So that's gonna be like that for life because of One Wheel. One Wheel hates us right now. They're like, stop telling people that.
I'm friends with those guys too, but it must be said.
One Wheel, here's my suggestion to you. You have a voice say, slow down, stop, instead of just the little movement or the pushback. Now, if you need someone to do that voice, I've got the perfect person.
Yeah, you do actually.
You're going too fast. slow down. Like I showed up to my buddy's house, my clothes are all torn. He's like, what happened to you? I was like, I fell on the one wheel. And he just looked at me and he was like, what are you doing? Like, what's your problem? I was like, you're right. Like, what am I doing?
And you're tall too, so you had a long way down too.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a creator.
You're falling 2 stories. I'm like a little domino.
Who does it?
The 24 is wide enough to vlog with. I mean, this is me full extension here. Why do they make these so tight? I have a fat neck. They're always too tight for me. I'm like being strangled. What is the purpose of these anyways? Where are we headed, Carrie?
The ambulance premiere.
It is pretty nice to be able to just like zoom in, because that's where we're going. Academy Museum. Okay, so this is where we're headed. Uh-oh, I need to adjust the exposure. This is why we need the 2.8. Yeah, look at that. I don't even have to raise my ISO. This is zoomed out and then zoomed in, so we got a good range there.
I have to pee.
Oh, okay. I hate this part. I just finished falling in love with the lens, and now I gotta ship it back. Might have to buy this, Carrie. I'm sorry. It's $2,300, $2,299. They just announced it.
But you said we can get the fridge with the fancy ice.
Oh my gosh. Carrie really wants this like super fancy fridge that has what was spherical ice cubes.
It has the craft ice, the balls of ice.
It's so much more expensive just to get like balls of ice. They're big balls of ice. It's super cool.
The big balls.
And she wants to get a counter depth fridge. That doesn't make sense to me. Like it's a smaller fridge and it's more expensive. That makes no sense. Why would you pay more for a smaller fridge?
Well, aren't there some smaller lenses that are more expensive?
That's a good one. That's actually really good, actually.
It's like flush.
Yeah,
it doesn't jet out from the countertop.
We're staying at a hotel right now. But my overall experience with this lens was awesome. Like the body, I like that there's an autofocus, manual focus switch. There's a lot of lenses where you have to go into the menu. I hate it when they do that. I like to be able to switch it really fast. Also, there's an iris lock to go between the manual and auto. We only touched on that a little bit, but I've used the primes before that don't have to lock, and I'm constantly bumping it accidentally. So I really do appreciate that little feature. Another thing I don't love is just like how loose the manual focus ring feels. So that's why we have to do the Gene Master edition.
Just wait for that one. Maybe they'll give you a discount on the Gene Master edition.
Right now I have the zoom on tight, so it feels a lot like the original G Master, but when I pop it into smooth, it feels very, very light. I just have to make sure I don't do it too fast so I don't lose that focus.
I feel like lenses are the adult version of Pokemon. Gotta catch them all.
But I do mean it when I say if I could only have one, this would probably be it. This lens can do pretty much everything pretty damn good. So Chicky's like, yeah, you should definitely get it. What do you think, Chicky? Should we get it?
No.
PETA, if you think I should get the lens, stand up. She has spoken.
You know where she learned that whining and begging from, right?
What? Oh, me? Oh, I almost forgot to mention that there's 11 circular blades in here instead of the 9. So even if you stop down to a 4, you'll start seeing the stop sign shape with this, and you can start counting out the 9 blades. This one you can kind of keep going down to like 5, 6 and still have a pretty decent rounded shape. The bokeh is just like those ice cubes you want, Carrie. Sharpness across the whole frame. So even if Chicky's all the way at the edge of the frame, she's still nice and sharp. And Sony always shows me all these like complicated charts. So I say like, oh, look at this. I don't really know. I go, oh yeah, cool. That's a good looking chart, I think.
Nice chart.
Yeah. But generally the way I test lenses is just try to use it in like a bunch of different situations and just look for things that I don't like, because this is such a clean lens. I'm just looking for imperfections. And I've been shooting a lot wide open too. That's where we see a lot of imperfections and racking in and out of focus with little details. And I have focus breathing comp off too, just to see if I can identify any things that really bother me. And I'm also late on posting this video. Everyone already posted it this morning. I'm late because I'm hungover. We've been in Vegas for like 4 days straight. Of course I'm hungover. Okay, I might be admitting too much. We really have to pack. Like we're actually past our checkout time. So subscribe button and like suggested video. I don't know. Just click on stuff and see ya.